contestant, Horace Freeman, Pleasantly Plump Adventures. Pleasantly Plump Adventures. Our third contestant, Horace Freeman.
When I was growing up, my mother never allowed me to feel like I was fat. To her, I was always pleasantly plump, which led to some amazing adventures. I didn't know anything about X-Lax. So I asked you all, what would possess a company to make a laxative that looked like chocolate candy? So when my friend brought me some and gave it to me, I rewarded him by allowing him to keep his hand and fingers as I gobbled it up. Then I went to physical education. As we're exercising, I hear I tried to continue. Then I heard this rumbling and bubbling, felt the bubbling, and I knew then I took off, crying, please God, please God, please God. My coach told me later he had never seen me move so fast in my life when it wasn't lunchtime. I stopped eating chocolate for a while, and I never touched it or anything again in my life that is coming in plain aluminum foil. My girlfriend lived out of town, and we would get together sometimes. She was presently plump too. We went to Walt Disney World. I talked her into going on Space Mountain. As we're moving through the line, I noticed they placed two in a seat. I looked at her and started chanting to myself, we can fit, we can fit, we can fit. As I got closer and I saw the attendant, he was chanting too. Ain't no way, ain't no way, ain't no way. But as we got there, he suggested I sit up front. And I squeezed down, and he began to pull the bar down. He looked at me, and I knew then, so I sucked it in. He pushed. I sucked it in. He pushed. Finally, I gave it all my effort, and sure enough, he locked it in place. And I saw the sweat beading off his face. He breathed a sigh of relief. I was just trying to breathe. Now, I was told that it was at this time that he said my left eye bulged out and some veins started popping in my forehead. So he released it really quick. And then he said, he told the couple behind us, he said, would you all mind splitting up and allowing them to go on the ride, which we did. And it worked out in my favor because I was screaming so loud. But when I got done, I told my girlfriend, did you hear that guy screaming? I'm surprised I still have hearing left. The next time that my girlfriend came to town, she had told me once how nice I looked in a suit. I like that. So when she told me she was coming to town, I said, I'm going to take her to a very nice restaurant. She asked me, are you going to wear the suit? I said, of course. Yeah, I only had one suit, and I gained 15 to 20 pounds by then. Pulled down my suit. I thought at first trying to put it on just standing up. And I kept about to fall, so I backed up against the wall. And I pulled it up, and the thing was going on pretty good till it hit that waistline. So again, tried sucking it in, but couldn't do anything. So then I fell back on the bed, and I proceeded to do a wrestling match that was worthy of pay-per-view. I pulled and I tugged and I tucked in and pushed until I was able to fasten it. And I had everything tucked neatly in. And I stood up there, and I got my coat, I put it on, stood in front of that mirror. Any minute, I thought. But then I said, you still look pretty good. So when I went to pick her up, and she looked at me, I noticed this time, she didn't say I looked nice. So I wondered. But anyway, we went to the restaurant, and we were sitting there having great conversation when I did the one thing that I never thought would happen. I sneezed. But worse than that, I tried to stifle it. So when I held my nose, and everything that was tucked in exploded free. 2 buttons shot off that shirt. One hit her just above the eyebrow. She screamed in pain. The other one went past her head, hit the guy at the next table, in the back of his neck. He slapped the back of his neck, jumped up. The gentleman carrying the tray, it hit him, food flying everywhere. I jumped up, snatched my coat off, put it around all of this exposed, grabbed her, threw money on the table, left the biggest tip I've ever left in my life at a restaurant, and proceeded to do a record 100 out of that restaurant. She forgave me, but she said she always wondered why it was that I never asked her to marry me. Can you imagine being reminded of that? Madam Contest Master.
Let us have 1 minute of silence.